everyone. So welcome to our Middle Waters Mixed in Love series, where I'll be having conversations with folks who identify as mixed with a variety of topics. I really feel like having a mixed identity makes us really unique in doing racial equity work and having a really different way that we can leverage our identity in order to work towards anti-racist leadership. So our lived experience is very unique. We often struggle and have identity issues, or that at least was my personal experience growing up. So we face a different set of challenges of sometimes not feeling like we belong in one group or another, or being rejected. And so this will be an opportunity to hear from different folks around their experience and for you to learn what it's like to be mixed. And so my first conversation is with my own two children in our living room on our own couch, just having a conversation about what it's like for them to be mixed now as youth. And I share a little bit about myself and how it's different or the same from when I grew up. So please welcome to our living room and get comfortable yourself. And I hope you enjoy hearing from my own two kids about their experience. Hey everyone, I thought I would start my Mixed in Love series with my own two beautiful children, Aiyana and Kahlel, who are actually going to introduce themselves to you.
Hi, Kahlel Jackson. I am currently a ninth grader enrolled at Decatur High School, and I am mixed.
Oh, my name's Aiyana Jackson. I'm in 10th grade at Decatur High School, and I'm mixed as well.
So, the point of this conversation is really to just hear from their perspective as youth, what it's like being mixed. And so, I have my questions on my phone, and I told them I want them to answer as honestly as possible, even though their mom was right here. Sometimes when you think as a parent that you've done all you can to talk to your kids about race, I learn things from them all the time. So I'm sure I learned something from this conversation. So just know this is not a scripted situation. All right. Are y'all ready?
Yes,
Okay. Do you get asked, what are you?
yes.
Yes and no. If that.
Well, explain.
Um,
And talk, make sure you're talking to the
I feel
camera.
like most of the time I'm asked it, and it's either it can be in it, oh, they're actually interested in, like, it's a general conversation with everyone included, or they're just confused, I guess. Just like,
So what do you get asked then?
just like, what are you? What you're mixed? What ethnicity are you? It can. I feel like it can be disrespectful in a way, because like, why does it matter? But it's also, I think it's sometimes interesting the fact that people are actually interested, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. But you do get asked that
But
question.
I do get asked,
And you do
yes.
get asked, what are you mixed with?
Yeah, and adding on, like, they ask that on a lot of papers in school too, and like when you sign up for stuff and whatever. It's always been very hard for me to put down too, because sometimes it'll only be like one thing that I'm mixed with, or there's all of them, and then I'm like, do I check all of them off, or do I just pick one?
I do get that a lot, especially with like the surveys they tell us
Yeah.
to do. They usually say pick one that you mainly associate with.
Which is crazy to me that they still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are these paper things you're talking about?
Paper
thing
and
surveys they do.
And it's also like, because I don't identify with just one, I feel like, because I have so many. And so that's why it's been hard.
And for me, I actually like it because I like to see what people think I am, their responses. Sometimes people will guess. And then when they don't get it right, I usually go really in depth to what I am because it is a sense of pride of being mixed with so many things.
So I think it's also a good thing, because I like telling people what I am.
So sometimes it bothers you.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it doesn't. And I find it, again, I just find it interesting because I'm your mother, I'm 40, and you are experiencing what I experienced when I was in school, and it's still not changed very much, which is, just says a lot. All right. So, you know, you already kind of said this, but is there any times that it's made you feel a certain way? Like, does it, like you just said, like it kind of makes you feel prideful, but is there ever been a time where it bothers you?
Nope, never for me.
It's just what I said, like the surveys and having to like check, because like why is it so important for and because unless they're generally interested, because it can, I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking. It can get irritating when people are constantly asking you.
Yeah.
If that, but that's really all. Other than that, I've never really been bothered.
Or when you're only given one option.
Yeah, or when I'm only given one option.
Got it. Okay. And you've been cool with being asked that because you like to get into that conversation with them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What are some names you've been called or comments you've been told by other kids because you're mixed?
Main, you
I'm thinking.
mainly ones that I've inflicted a lot on. It was whitewashed and an Oreo.
And
But-
you've been told that more than once?
Yeah, mainly in middle school and sometimes in high school, but they were mainly all in middle school. And other ones I can't really remember because they were probably like a joke or something. I just didn't take it personally, but I'm sure there was more.
What is, like, how do you respond when they tell you that you're whitewashed?
I got annoyed. At first, I didn't take it as a problem, but they kept saying it, and I was like, what is the problem with that? I was raised in a predominantly white neighborhood, so of course I'm going to take on some of, like, the tactics and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, your behavior should not be associated with a race.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's because I'm also like mixed with like part white and ethnicities from like German and Irish and whatnot, and so it was like what it confused me
Because you're being told that as if it's a bad thing.
Yeah, as if it's a bad thing, but I am part of it. Part of me is white, and so I'm like, what? Yeah. And I was being told this by white people and black people, and so and most of those kids in there were mixed, and so I was like, what is the problem in general? I didn't get it. And then being called an Oreo, I was like, it's just a stupid name in general to me. Because, yeah, obviously I'm black and white, but like, what's the name? What's the purpose of name calling?
Well, it meant to make you feel different.
Yeah, it definitely offset me from a lot of the kids there, but
yeah. It's to make
at
you
a certain
different.
point, you kind of get used to it.
That's not a good thing.
Even though it's not,
yeah.
But you just kind of push it to the side.
The main name that I've been called is light skin, which is more of a descriptive term. But it is just light skin, prestige light skin, as in people think that I act like a typical light skin guy, as if I think that my skin tone should be associated with my race or ethnicity.
Mm-hmm. So do people know that you're black? Is that why they're saying that to you, or?
Yeah, people know. The first thing people just think I'm black and white. That's what people think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the main thing. But I've had friends make up like nicknames, not really for me though, but just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off of stereotypes and behaviors.
Nicknames? Like what?
Not nickname, just like play on words, like watermelon warrior.
Watermelon
like
warrior.
Yeah, or cotton crusader.
That's racist, no?
Yeah.
So that kind of goes
stereotypes.
With what I'm saying, what I said, like jokes and stuff that just didn't stick.
Yeah, I haven't been called that personally, but I've known people that have been called that.
Do you stop it?
No, not necessarily.
Sometimes I just ask why, just straight up why, because it's unnecessary. But I feel like sometimes if you do say something, it escalates. Because I have before, I guess, and it just didn't. They don't listen, and it continues anyway, and so it feels like a waste of breath, even though it is good to say something.
Well, I would hope that if you are hearing names being made, even if they are, and we've had long conversations about this, even though they're plays on stereotypes, that it's not okay because it may be kids not understanding how it could be hurtful. So I know that a lot of times people are surprised when you tell them that you're siblings, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think? Do you know why they're surprised?
Because we don't really, first glance, we don't really look related.
Some people, especially with masks on, because I think the main thing that makes us like look similar is our facial features, like our nose and stuff,
and our eyes. That's what we like at track practice. At track practice, they didn't know we were siblings, and they asked us to take our mask off, and then they saw that we were, because they were like our nose and our eyes.
Yeah, because at first, especially with the mask on, when you're covering up most of your facial features, it's just hair type, which I have a different hair type than her, and skin tone.
It maybe like height gives it a little bit, but they just look at hair and skin tone.
Right, so you're definitely off the top just because of your skin tone and your hair texture.
People don't think we're siblings.
People don't think. And how's that made you feel? Does it bother you?
Yeah, because I'll go and I say, oh yeah, that's my brother, especially when he does something cool, and so there's kind of like pride in him being my brother. So when people don't see that, it's kind of disheartening a little bit. I don't know about you, but yeah, it did bother me for a little bit, but then seeing like surprise on people's faces, it just got funny.
Yeah. I think it doesn't really bother me, but it's because if somebody doesn't know, I make it a point for them to know. Which is why most people now know that she's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about when adults don't know? Do you feel like you've been treated differently at all in school by adults?
No. I feel like in elementary school,
I think I've been treated nicer because they know my sister who's already been in the class.
Yeah, in elementary school, just going through school, they want our last names, and they'll see us like around the halls and stuff. And so, because I was in the grade before him, I felt like teachers would have a connection between us, because he'd come like right after me and just be like, "Oh, your siblings with Kahlel, and he's my brother or whatever." So honestly, I think it kind of helped when they
and I get to see a different view, because as a parent, like, I've had conversations with teachers who didn't know that you all were siblings, and we're like, "Oh, really? I didn't know that." And as a parent, that bothers me, that there's adults in your schools that don't know that you're siblings, and then the shock and surprise sometimes that they have. Or when they realize that, either depending on if they've met your dad first or if they've met me first, having this like automatic response of who they think my children are.
Can I?
You can, and you can add on louder too.
It's not just like with siblings too. It's with you and dad. So like when I'm out with dad, it's either I'm his daughter or I'm his sister, which is funny just because he looks young. But like with some of my friends, they automatically know he's my dad, because just based off looks, and I look like him, and I have a lot of his features too. But I also have some of your features, but they don't get that in me. Like when me and you go out, I can see people looking at us, and I'm like, they obviously don't know we're related. And my friends after will be like, "You don't look nothing like your mom," which bothers me, but it's like not reasonable, but like I get it.
I mean, Yeah, when you were a baby and I push you around, people give me funny looks.
Yeah.
Like they would like.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, they give me funny looks, and they don't assume that you're my kid.
Even when we would go like to parks and stuff, just me and you when we were younger, I would see people looking at us. I don't know if you saw, but I saw people stare a lot.
Do you feel like people stare at you? You do?
Even
I
just
don't
like
think it's because of
in a car.
my race. I think it's
Really?
You think it's because you look good?
I think it's because I look good.
He's
I think it's because people. Oh no, I think it's because
narcissism
people
is
think I look
peaking.
good. That's why. I think it's because people think I look good. That's
Do you feel like there's a stereotype that makes people look better?
Yes.
Do you hear stuff like that?
I don't hear it. It's just kind of like the norm-ish.
I've never heard that before. So.
You've never heard that before?
I haven't heard it, but it's more so, I guess, people are more attractive to people with, I don't know, like fair skin tone.
Right. We've had conversations about your friends and how many of your friends are actually dating, black girls of darker skin versus either lighter skin, white girls, or even Asian girls.
That's true, because I've told you this. I've heard like Hispanics say they won't date black people.
Yeah.
And if like most of the time, I either see people on the lighter side or they're on the dark side. There's none really
dating each other.
Yeah.
Or no, really, right? Like even that me and him were talking about. Even like some of his black friends, are they dating black girls with dark skin?
Yeah, no, I rarely see that.
Right. And why do you, and like to Kahlel's point, is that what helps? Is that what you mean when you say it kind of seems like that's what has been normed? Is that lighter skin is seen as more beautiful? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think dark skinned people are really pretty.
I think so too. And so but again, like we've been socialized to think that. I feel like when I was growing up, I heard a lot about how like mixed people are beautiful. Mixed babies are beautiful.
Ooh, I've seen like on social media how they'll be like white women will say that they want to marry a black guy for mixed children. I heard that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah. But I just feel like that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. And it also like pins different skin tones against one another and can make darker skin folks feel like they're not beautiful when they are, because that's not messaged.
So I've never really got like the light skin thing, like being called a light skin and all that, because in reality we're all black. So like,
what do you mean by that?
Like we're all part of the same, but just different shades. So why should we be against each other like that?
You mean within the black community?
Yeah, within the black community.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Because like your brother said,
there's a lot of hate towards each other in the black community, because like when people get called like stereotypical names, like I was saying, it's usually not like a white person calling a black person. It's a black person calling another black person.
Yeah. And that does cause some hate towards one another, or it makes you feel like you don't belong, right? Like, have you been made to feel like you're not black enough by calling you those things? Yeah, being called whitewashed and or yeah. How about you?
Sometimes.
It was either I'm not white enough or I'm
because I have a strong
black
sense of pride there. So if I ever get the notion that I'm not black enough, I know how to stand for myself, and I know myself that I am. So I don't need anybody else's approval.
Mm-hmm. So you have pride and confidence in that.
Yes.
Yeah. You? Confidence and pride in being black. I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, now I feel like like elementary stuff that was hard
because
just because of the environment we lived in, and like I would put my hair back all the time because I hated my hair being puffy.
Because people would make comments about it,
and everyone had straight hair.
This is what I mean when I say I feel like sometimes you're being treated differently, and you're like, no, I don't think so, but you are, because you didn't deal with what your sister dealt with in elementary school. As far as like being one of the only dark skin, only, black girl in her class, and then having people touch her hair and having people ask her about her hair and wanting to hide her hair. Like, you didn't have to deal with that.
I was looking back on my volleyball picture from Evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only black person in there with my hair out like this, and I was like, wow.
And for the longest, you didn't like your hair.
Yeah, and I didn't. I would put so much gel in there just to put it down.
So it just, like, shows that, like, you have been treated differently growing up. And it could affect whether or not you are proud or not proud of being black based on how people are treating you because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is something that you think is you want to tell the world is, like, makes you proud about being mixed? Like, what is a positive side about being mixed?
You get to see a lot of cultures, and you get to know about them.
And you get to be involved.
Yeah.
You should feel lucky.
You're not,
because you don't have one background. You have a whole array of backgrounds you come from and cultures you associate with. And just because you're a certain percentage of those cultures, as long as you're a part of the culture, you're still part of the culture. And you should still be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we haven't had a chance to necessarily, like, be entrenched in those cultures, you still feel pride in learning about it and learning the history and knowing you come from.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, knowing where I come from and gives me a source of pride.
It's also because you're not stuck to one category, if that makes sense. Like, having different options, like, to just go and explore is really interesting.
Explore your roots?
Like, background and roots and family and seeing different sides of everything. And then having it all come together and just it gives you a certain amount of knowledge and experience that I find is
I feel like something hard about it, though, can be hard to find something that you belong to.
Yeah.
But if you, like me, I feel like I don't belong to just one place. For some people, that could be a bad thing, but for me, that is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I really struggled when I was younger because there wasn't, like, a mixed person club.
Yeah.
There still isn't.
I know, there still isn't. That's what I'm saying.
Which is hard because there's a lot of mixed people nowadays.
For me, though,
yeah.
I do like so I love to be able to relate to practically anything that I go to. PI club, you know what I'm saying? Pacific, well, that's Native Club,
BSU.
BSU. I could go to
either one of those
a
things.
bunch of places and still feel at home. You know?
Do you still feel at home when you're there?
Yes.
They don't question and challenge why you're there?
Oh, if they do, some people, I'll be like, I'll get like, you're Filipino, you're Pacific Islander? And I'll be like, yeah. They can question if they want to, but as long as them questioning it doesn't make me question myself.
It doesn't change the fact that you are.
Well, I wish I was like you guys when I was younger. Because I don't think, I like to give myself a little bit of some, pat on the backs for
it's
y'all.
You guys raising us that way.
Right.
But honestly, I feel like it didn't start out that way. Like, it took some time to get to how I think now. Because, like how I said, I hated my hair, but now I love my hair.
Yeah.
And
you also get so many compliments on my hair, so
I do.
Jealous.
I get so many compliments on my hair.
But again, that part of that is we moved, and we moved to a place where you go to school with a lot of curly hair, friends.
The environment is definitely impactful because I feel like if I still lived in environment, I would still have that negative mindset about myself and my race.
So for people like watching, we as a family made a decision to move. Well, not really these two because they were young, but their dad and I made a decision to move from Redmond, Washington to Federway, Washington, so they would go to school with kids and teachers who look like them. And so that's kind of what Aiyana's referring to. Yeah. Well, that's, just a beginning to our conversations. I'm sure I'm going to bring you on for more. That was already a lot, you know what I'm saying, in a short amount of time to talk about. But I think, like I said, I wish that when I was your age, I had the pride in being, I'm going to get like really emotional. But I wish I had the I'm gonna hold it together. I wish that I had the sense of pride that you two have in your mixed identities when I was younger. I sort of sometimes did, like every time I learned something new about like being Filipino or being Native American, like I would get a huge sense of pride, but it was like in such small doses, like growing up. And so I definitely had this like I don't know where I belong. I don't know which club to go to.
Yeah.
Even when I went to college, like I didn't go to a club, but I really so badly desperately wanted to be in a club. And they didn't have a native club. I maybe they did, but I just never felt like I did belong there. So I'm just really happy to know that you all are seeing the blessings that I see now as an adult. Like I also experience the same thing. Like I feel like I get invited to a lot of people's homes and invited into a lot of different cultures because I am of a lot of different cultures. But I didn't learn that until like 4 years ago. So for you all to have that in your high school years and to be proud and let people know, like, yeah, I belong here. Like, yes, I am this. Yes, I belong here. And don't make me question who I am is like something I'm proud of. And I think you should be proud of. And I hope you realize you can like teach others to be doing the same thing. And hopefully you will through this video. Yeah. All right. You want to say any last words? Or just say bye? Because I'm sure we'll do more videos.
Peace for now.
I mean, y'all watch more videos.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next one. All right. Thanks for being with us. Hey. Hey, everyone. I thought I'd start.
Sorry.
Are you ready now? Can you talk louder,
I'm
please?
talking louder.
Me.
All right, y'all. Now that you've watched that video, I would love to hear how it relates to you. Do you have similar stories? Have you been asked, what are you? Do you have questions that you'd like to ask Aiyana or Kahlel that they can respond to? So please put in those answers or questions in the comments and we'll get back to you. You can also share what you'd be interested in hearing more from Aiyana and Kahlel and myself about being mixed. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and thank you once again. Say bye. Say bye. Bye.